Well, it's a day like this you think about Ernie Banks, who always said, let's play two. And the Cubs and Giants are going to do just that here tonight. A day-night doubleheader. It's the nightcap after the Giants took Game 1 13-7, Game 2 of a 4-game series. The Giants and Cubs on Comcast Sportsnet. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. The Giants are hot. They've now won 6 in a row. The Cubs back to 15 games under 500. And, Bob, the Giants did it in an unusual way. They don't score a lot of runs, but they did in Game 1.
Yeah, you mentioned they've been hot lately, but rarely have they put on an offensive show the way they did in Game 1 today, especially a guy who has been cold himself, Pat Burrell. Cut one through the wind to left field. He had a big day this afternoon, had 3 hits, drove in 3 runs. A lot of hitters in that Giants lineup that have been scuffling got fat in Game 1.
Season high 13 runs, season best 18 hits. The Cubs themselves scored 7 runs, unfortunately not nearly enough. And the Cubs did make a roster move between games. Right-hander Marcos Mateo now on the roster. DJ LeMahieu sent back to the minor leagues. Now the pitching matchup, left-hander Barry ZITO coming off the DL for the Giants.
Yeah, Barry ZITO still trying to justify the big contract he signed with the San Francisco Giants. Still has really good stuff, especially the big overhand curveball.
For the Cubs, Rodrigo Lopez comes out of the bullpen. This will be just his second start as a Cub, and he has struggled in his career against the Giants.
Yeah, he has struggled against the Giants. Mike Quade and Mark Riggins just hoping for a deep outing from Rodrigo Lopez today. And for Rodrigo Lopez, that means 5, maybe 6 innings.
So coming up, Giants and Cubs in Game 2 of this day-night doubleheader. Carlos Pena with 3 homers the last 2 games. We'll see if the Cubs can earn a split in this double dip. Coming up.
Your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. 75 years of being right here in Illinois means no one's closer to your wellness. Experience wellness everywhere. Subway. Every day at Subway, choose from many delicious regular footlong subs for just $5. Subway. Eat fresh. Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today or go to shophonda.com and find great values on a new Honda. AT&T U-Verse. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates.
What a great day, and now into the evening here at Wrigley Field. Cubs trying to get a split in this day-night doubleheader. This was a regularly scheduled contest. As 35-year-old right-hander Rodrigo Lopez will face this Giants Southwest starting lineup. They were averaging 3.4 runs per game, lowest in the majors, but they scored 13 in Game 1. Torres, Burris, Sandoval at the top. Huff, Ross, Schierholtz in the middle. Rookie shortstop Brandon Crawford bats seventh in the battery. Whiteside and ZITO.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively here for game 2. Soriano in left, Reed Johnson in center, Lou Montanez over in right field, Ramirez and Castro on the left side of the infield, Jeff Baker and Carlos Pena on the right side. Boy, Hill caught game 1, so Giovanni Soto catches game 2, and he'll be receiving pitches from right-hander Rodrigo Lopez. Making his second start of the season. He actually pitched pretty effectively out of the bullpen when he initially came to the Cubs. It's been a little bit of a struggle for him lately.
Switch batting, Andres Torres will start it. He came into the game to play center late in game 1. Did not get an at-bat. And Tim McClellan, the crew chief, working home plate, calls strike 1. Second start for Lopez. There's a tapper foul.
A little bit more speed in the lineup for the Giants in game 2. Andres Torres at the top. Emmanuel Burris runs pretty well. Cody Ross, a guy capable of stealing a base. Nate Schierholtz, even though he's a big guy, he runs extremely well. Brandon Crawford, the shortstop. A little more team speed in game 2 for the Giants.
74 degrees and an east wind at 7. It's out of the northwest for game 1. Bounding ball to Starlin Castro, and he throws out Torres. Mention McClellan behind the plate, Marvin Hudson, DJ Rayburn, and Mark Ripperger around the bases.
Well, partner, did you have enough time to prepare for game 2?
I did.
Okay.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Change shirts.
Emmanuel Burris, another switch hitter, and he pops up the bunt, foul, back to the screen. We had about 2 hours in between game 1 and game 2. Another nice crowd on hand. Giants extending their lead in the National League West to 2.5 games over Arizona. The Diamondbacks hosting Cleveland a little later. That is a fair ball past Pena. Montanez will pick it up, but he's right on the bullpen mound. And it's a double for Emmanuel Burris.
That's what the threat of speed will do. Carlos Pena drawn in to protect against a possible bunt by Emmanuel Burris, and he slaps it right past him. You can see Pena playing in front of the baseline, just not enough range to get over there and field that smash. Goes down in the corner for a double.
He had the most at bats of any major league player without an extra base hit this season. It's his first extra base hit since June 4th, 2009, covering 113 at bats. Elias had reported the 85 at bats coming in without an extra base hit, the most in the major leagues this season. We had Miguel Tejada snap a career-long homerless drought in the first game. Sandoval with a couple of hits, an RBI. 2 runs scored.
Sandoval, a switch hitter, much better from this side of the plate. A .298 hitter as a lefty, .259 as a right-handed hitter, and 4 of his 5 home runs have come as a lefty. You know, Sandoval was one of the Giants that made his way to the batting cages in right field about 10 minutes after 6. Went down there and disappeared underneath the stands, came back out about 20 minutes later, soaked in sweat.
You know how my mind works? In very random ways. The Giants with 3 consecutive switch hitters to start their lineup tonight. I'm curious. We could probably find out from Elias. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if they track these things. What's the major league record for number of switch hitters in one lineup? Have there been 6 or 7 switch hitters in the same lineup? I'm going to guess the record's probably 5 or 6.
Like the St. Louis Cardinals for a while there in the 80s had a lot of switch hitters in their lineup, but I don't think they had more than 5. It'll probably be 9.
That would be the most it could be. Lopez with a 3-2 offering and another foul by Sandoval.
Now this has occasionally been an issue for Rodrigo Lopez. He's been able to get to that 2-strike count, but just doesn't really have that put away pitch. That slider that he can bury down and in, or the big over the top curveball, or an explosive high 4-seam fastball. And the at bats tend to get extended because he just can't seem to put the hitter away.
Another foul out of play. Still 3-2 on Sandoval with Aubrey Huff on deck. In game 1, Sandoval extended his hitting streak to 8. Ow. Charlie.
Really hurt.
Fouled right at the plate.
What are the chances that one or both of these teams watched Caddyshack during the delay between games? It's one of the all-time clubhouse favorites.
Old School would be another. Yeah.
Hangover's been getting a lot of airplay in the clubhouses that we've been to around the league.
It's the 9th pitch already in this at bat. I want to welcome those viewers watching on ESPN UK. Giants and Cubs from Wrigley Field. Pitch number 10 of the at bat. Swing and a miss. He got him.
We talk about it all the time, Len. I think especially against Pablo Sandoval, less is more. When the big panda gets into swing mode up there at the plate, he's going to chase just about anything you throw up there, and you're probably better off going really slow around the edges because he just can't hold up. He wants to swing that bat.
Aubrey Huff, 2 RBIs, a hit, 2 runs in the opener. Burris at second. He doubled with 1 out. Sinker didn't come back to the edge of the strike zone. 1-1.
First one did. Second one stayed just off the plate inside. That's a nice sequence of pitches right there by Lopez so far to Aubrey Huff. Sinker on the inside corner for a strike. He just missed off the plate inside with another sinker and then comes right back with the slider in the same location. The sinker was working its way back over the plate. The slider working its way toward the back foot of Aubrey Huff.
Chop to the shortstop Castro. And his throw to first will beat Huff by half a step. And the Giants fail to score. The Cubs are coming up against lefty Barry ZITO. Lineup written out by manager Mike Quade. Reed Johnson will start it. Starlin Castro saw his career best 11-game hitting streak come to an end in Game 1. Ramirez at third. Pena, good numbers against the lefty ZITO. Giovanni Soto gets a nod at Game 2. Jeff Baker's at second. Soriano in left. Montanez in right. And the pitcher Lopez hitting ninth.
Quick look at the Giants defensively for Game 2. It'll be Ross, Torres, and Schierholtz across the outfield. Sandoval, Crawford, Burris, and Huff third to first across the infield. Eli Whiteside doing the catching for our Lexus pursuing perfection starting pitcher, left-hander Barry ZITO. Only 3 starts to begin the season. 2 no decisions and a loss. Went on the disabled list with a right foot injury. Had 4 rehab starts in the minor leagues. His last one was about as good as you can get. 9 innings of 2 hits shutout baseball.
Say pretty typical 4-pitch lefty.
You'll see a lot of the big overhand curveballs. His fastball velocity has really fallen off the last couple of years. His average heater sits right around 83.5 miles an hour.
2-0 the count on center fielder Reed Johnson. This for ZITO is something different, coming off the DL. First time in his 12-year career that he had gone to the disabled list. It's his first start since mid-April.
He started the season with a pretty good outing against the Dodgers. Went 6 innings, gave up only 3 hits, 3 earned runs in that game. Next time out against St. Louis, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 4 runs. Reed Johnson tries to bunt for a base hit. It'll go foul. In his last start against the Diamondbacks before going on the disabled list was only able to last an inning and 2/3. And spent a lot of time on the DL before making his 4 rehab starts, and here he is back in the big leagues.
Tweaked his mechanics a little bit while he was on the shelf. A little more drive as he finishes delivery toward home plate. Little number 75 deals, and Reed Johnson can't hold up on that high pitch and strikes out.
Way above the top of the strike zone at 84. That's his fastball. He's not going to overpower anybody. You just have to make sure you get pitches you want to hit.
A rare quiet game in the first one for Castro. 0 for 5. He reached down an error, scored a run.
One thing I notice about ZITO, he's not taking his hands up over his head in his windup anymore. He used to be a guy that lifted the glove and the bare hand way above his head as he took his step back to start his delivery. Now keeps that glove right in front of his chest and starts from there.
Driven to left and caught. It's Cody Ross.
ZITO really used to pump those hands up over his head, bring the glove back down to his belt. As you said, just kind of compacted everything. Not as many moving parts now. Trying to get him going at his target a little more consistently.
1-0 on Aramis Ramirez. 2 hits, 2 runs in the opener. ZITO won the American League Cy Young Award with Oakland back in 2002. An All-Star 3 times, all with the A's. And as Bob mentioned, signed a huge 7-year contract back on December 29th of 2006 to head across the bay. He made 33 starts in the regular season last year, but he did not pitch in the postseason, despite being the Giants' highest paid player. He didn't make their playoff roster. That had to be very bittersweet for Barry ZITO.
I'm sure that was a tough pill to swallow to not be on the active roster, but to his credit, he stood up, faced the media, and said, I don't deserve to be the way I've pitched this year. I'll be here rooting on my team and supporting them, and if anything happens, I'll be ready to pitch.
I remember talking in September last year when the Giants were here that they had a couple of potentially difficult decisions to make and a couple of veterans making a lot of money, Aaron Rowand and Barry ZITO. And ZITO did not make the roster. Rowand did. 0-0 at the end of one. In real time with Cubs in game live only at CSNChicago.com, brought to you by Honda. No score as we go into the second inning. Cody Ross played right in the opener. He's in left here in game two. Two balls, no strikes. That's driven deep to left. Soriano going back on it, and it's going to be off the wall as Ross is hustling towards second base. He's going to get in head first. He missed a homer by a couple of feet.
Any pitcher, but especially Rodrigo Lopez, needs to avoid those 2-0, 3-1 counts where the hitters can get it started early, which is exactly what Cody Ross does. Catches that fastball out in front of the plate, just missed a home run. Ball hit right below the basket. It looked like they had a shot at him at second base, but Ross able to get in on his belly with a double.
Bob, and talking about a couple of the high-paid veterans on this Giants roster. Barry ZITO due to make $19 million next year. Aaron Rowand $12 million. That's $31 million combined. For a couple of guys who are no longer considered the centerpieces of this roster. Fouled off by SCHIERHOLTZ.
Ah, those long-term contracts. I think the issue is really with the amount of money per season. It's just the number of seasons. This game, things can change rather quickly. Physically, some guys lose it fast. Guys get injuries.
ZITO gets $20 million in 2013. Base hit out into left center. Ross is going to score. SCHIERHOLTZ will stop with an RBI single, and it's 1-0 Giants.
So they wanted the ball up. It ends up right down the middle of the plate. Man, just not real good here in the early going for Rodrigo Lopez. He had that one good at bat against Aubrey Huff, but making a lot of mistakes down the middle of the plate here in the second.
Now the shortstop Brandon Crawford, who's here because of some injuries. We mentioned Mike Fontenot's out. So is Mark DeRosa. Freddie Sanchez, second baseman. Buster Posey done for the year. Brandon Belt also out. They pitch out, and SCHIERHOLTZ was not running. They like Crawford's defense, but he was brought up from High A San Jose, so he still has some developing to do offensively.
Well, the way this Giants team is assembled, they're all about pitching and defense. So you're a good defender in the Giants system, and there's a need at the major league level. You got a chance to go to the big leagues. As long as you can catch the ball, get the outs you're supposed to get. And I mentioned with a little bit more speed in this Giants lineup for the night game, you could possibly see some hit and run attempts. Bruce Bochy doesn't like to push a lot of buttons. He prefers to let his hitters go up there and swing away. But with this particular lineup, you may see some hitting and running.
Little off the corner to make it 2-1. The highest he had reached, and it was prior to this season, was Double-A. Again, he started this season back at High A. And here he is in the big leagues. SCHIERHOLTZ goes this time, and it's pulled foul on the ground. Base coach Roberto Kelly will find a young fan to hand that souvenir to.
Former Cub Sean Dunston, a roving coach for the San Francisco Giants. His son, Sean Dunston Jr., drafted in the 11th round by the Cubs.
Base hit pulled into right. That's 3 consecutive knocks to start the inning.
Once again, look at the location of the pitches. Right down the middle of the plate. Try to find some corners. Might need his catcher Giovanni Soto to move out even a little bit further on the corners just to give him a target that's out of the middle of the plate. It seems like every fastball he's throwing right now is headed mid-thigh, mid-plate.
Like to get some length out of him, as they say, is Doug Davis only went 4 1/3 in game 1. The Cubs made a roster move, adding a right-hander, Marcos Mateo, to the bullpen. A little short on the bench. That means Carlos Zambrano will be ready to pinch hit if needed, as DJ LeMahieu was optioned to AAA Iowa. Mateo was on the opening day roster, so this will be his second tour of duty this season with the Cubs. Already 20 major league appearances for Mateo. One and one on Eli Whiteside, who missed a few days with left quad tightness. You see Mateo struggled in terms of the ERA with Iowa. And DJ LeMahieu getting his first taste of the big leagues, so he's back at AAA. Darwin Barney should be back in the mix and off the DL tomorrow night.
And for DJ LeMahieu, he needs to play. He was getting regular playing time recently up here at the major league level, but with Darwin Barney returning, the at-bats figured to be very limited. And DJ's going to be back. There's no question about it. He just needs to get his at-bats and continue to play.
And he'll play at AAA for the first time in his career, because when he came up to the big leagues, it was from AA. Spent almost a month in the majors. Two and two on Whiteside with the pitcher ZITO on deck. Full count, 3-2.
Lopez missed his landing hole with that left foot as he made his stride toward home plate. Looked like he landed on the side of that hole and kind of lost his balance.
Lopez signed with San Diego 16 years ago out of the Mexican League. He was a 15-game winner in his rookie campaign of 2002 with the Baltimore Orioles. Double play ball. Baker, Castro, Pena. Boy, does that help.
Again, an elevated fastball in the middle, but this time Whiteside tardy with his swing. Hits that hard grounder right at Jeff Baker. Taylor made double play ball. Castro with plenty of time to throw. Crawford not even on him down there at second base.
Rodrigo Lopez will retire Barry ZITO. They get one. Could have been a lot worse as Lopez is able to limit the damage. 1-0 Giants.
Freeze cam from the fifth inning of game one today. Aaron Rowan with a base hit to left field against Chris Carpenter. Perfectly executed relay. The throw gets to Coy Hill. It appears he has the plate blocked on Chris Stewart and applied the tag to the rear end. But the call was safe at home plate. The Giants added another run, what turned into be a blowout in game one. Freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. For the Cubs in the second inning, it'll be the cleanup hitter Carlos Pena, followed by Giovanni Soto, Jeff Baker, and hopefully others.
What a hot month Pena's had. Actually, a couple of months. 17 home runs all since May 3rd. Very slight breeze blowing straight in from center as Pena will just get a piece of it for a foul strike.
Pena 6 for 19 lifetime with a couple of homers against the Giants left-hander. Big day tomorrow, Len. Tomorrow's DeAgostino's day right here at Wrigley Field. Don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Giants at 7 o'clock. Get to the ballpark early. The first 10,000 fans receive a Cubs koozie. Compliments of DeAgostino's Pizza.
Down ball to shallow right. That'll go 4-3. Burris to Huff.
Catcher number 18, Soto.
Not really sure what to make of Barry Zito's style in terms of the way he wears his uniform, because he's got the striped socks, hat bottoms around the bottom of the knees. So that's old school. But if you really went old school, you'd have really baggy pants.
You want a combination of old school and new school, I guess.
Soto lifts in the air to right. Schierholtz coming over. 2 down. I never knew the Giants stirrups had the orange stripes. Occasionally see guys with the Cardinals, the stripes at the top of those socks.
I don't know that the Giants have ever had orange stripes on their socks. Yeah,
those are different. Different socks.
Just a Barry Zito thing.
Yeah.
Might have worn them for one of those throwback days where they wear the old unis. He decided he liked them and continues to wear them.
There's a guy they call the Freak, Tim Lincecum. He will pitch tomorrow night. Lincecum's really never changed his look. He's had the same long, stringy hair since he came up to the big leagues.
We talked about it earlier this season when the Giants came to town. His manager, Bruce Bochy, calls him the Rain Man of music. He knows the words to every song ever written. Boch said it's amazing. He knows the words to country songs, rap songs, classic rock, show tunes, you name it. He knows the lyrics to everything.
If you've ever seen Dazed and Confused, the kid who played Mitch would play Tim Lincecum. Fly ball to deep left. Not quite enough as Ross makes a grab on the warning track. 6 up, 6 down for Zito off the disabled list. 1-0 San Francisco. Daily Double is back for just $189, but you don't have to remember it to love it. Prices and participation may vary. For a limited time, a la carte only. Breaking ball missed to the leadoff man, Andres Torres. 1-0 the count. Third inning, 1-0 Giants. Swing and a miss on a change. 1-1. Brewers getting pounded at Yankee Stadium. 7-2 Yankees. They're in the top of the fifth. Lopez from the glove.
Oh, yeah.
Pena is able to keep his toe on first base.
Nicely done by Rodrigo Lopez. That's nearly a perfect bunt. A little bit harder to get it past the pitcher. There's no play, but Lopez stayed with it. The glove-to-glove toss for the out at first base. Nicely done.
Burris with his first extra base hit of the year, a double in the first inning. Huge swing and he missed.
Going for number 2 right there.
Nick Swisher with his 10th home run for the Yankees. A 3-run shot off Zach Greinke. He got knocked out after just 2 innings tonight at Yankee Stadium. Brewers leading the division by 3 games over struggling St. Louis. Cardinals are in Baltimore and they have a lead 4-0, although they're being delayed by rain in the 6th. Well, they're being delayed. It doesn't say rain, but that's usually why.
Been known to have the occasional power outage in Baltimore too, sometimes to delay or postpone games.
We'll try to find out. Inside, 3-1.
Where is it? Busch Stadium down in St. Louis, where they've had issues with the lights on a couple of different occasions. Well, we're not sure what the delay is in Baltimore.
Maybe they just needed a little extra time. Let's just take a break. Oh, okay. R means rain. Okay. Or rest.
Yeah, they're just rested. Cleveland occasionally gets those little tiny midges or whatever those bugs are that come in off of Lake Erie, and they have to delay games from time to time. Not always rain.
Ground ball up the middle. Baker backhands and gets him. Nicely done.
Range up the middle by Jeff Baker, and a strong throw. He chose not to do that jump, twist, and throw in midair. Instead, gets his body turned, throws as he's fading away into center field, but gets enough on it to get Burris at first base.
Sandoval whiffs on a changeup. Mets 13, the Tigers nothing in the bottom of the 5th in Detroit. Jose Reyes is 4 for 4. He's now batting .349 on the year. Carlos Beltran and Jason Bay have each knocked in 4 runs for the Mets. Trying to get over 500 and come in at 39 and 39.
Jose Reyes, unless he doubled today, he went into play today with 14 triples. I'm sorry, triples.
He's got another one. 15.
That's amazing. Shane Victorino second in the National League with 8, and then Starlin Castro of the Cubs with 6.
Reyes with 2 singles, a double, and a triple tonight.
You see Glenn Close sitting up there somewhere?
I did not. Two and two with 2 down. Pena will take it unassisted, and the Giants go down in order in the 3rd. They lead 1-0. GMC Sportsnet Central. Coming up tonight after post-game live reaction from the Cubs clubhouse after the game, plus a visit with Bulls forward Taj Gibson. Join Luke and Mark for GMC Sportsnet Central tonight after post-game live only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Alfonso Soriano bounces foul as Cubs bat in the 3rd inning, trailing 1-0.
A lot of previous experience for Soriano against Barry ZITO. It hasn't always been good, but 41 previous at bats, only 6 base hits. It's a 146 lifetime average.
Patented ZITO curveball is in there, 0-2. Barry ZITO, very interesting guy. I've heard the nicknames Planet ZITO or Captain Quirk. When he was signed by the Giants, and this is according to Wikipedia, which we always trust, he liked 75 because the numbers are like a shelf to hold his name up on his jersey.
Guess that's one way to look at it. Was he afraid his name was going to slip off the back of his jersey somehow?
Possibly.
It's stitched on, I'm pretty sure.
His parents were in show business. They met and got married while they were working for Nat King Cole in the 1960s. His dad, Joe, was Nat King Cole's conductor and arranger. Roberta was a backup singer. Get through past Crawford and into left center for a base hit. Hey fans, next time you want to catch a Cubs game, head to StubHub, where you'll find the seats you want and the freedom to choose where you want to sit. StubHub is the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Chicago Cubs. For more information, visit Cubs.com/StubHub. Looks like the lake is pretty calm here tonight. Lou Montanez gets the start in right.
Barry Zito, very musically inclined himself, plays a lot of guitar, uses it as therapy to relax between starts, clear his mind.
When he was a kid, his dad hired a professional coach to work with Zito one time a week for an hour. Randy Jones, who won the Cy Young. And whenever Zito would do something wrong, Randy Jones would spit tobacco juice on his shoes. That would be incentive enough for me. Oh. Montanez, high and deep, left center. Gone. His first homer as a Chicago Cub, and it gives the Cubs the lead, 2-1.
Montanez hit some balls hard on the last road trip, including one in Kansas City that we thought had a chance to get out to left center field. No doubt about this one. Nice quick swing. A lot of wrists and hands right at the very end. Flipped it up into those left center field bleachers.
First homer in over 2 years. Fifth of his career, and again the first as a member of the Cubs. So that helps out the guy at the plate. Rodrigo Lopez now working with a lead. Nice going, Lou.
How long do you think Gary Presley's been over there waiting to play Loué Loué when Montanez touched one off? Well, he finally got his chance.
I mean, is he sitting curveball? Or is he just adjusting?
He might just be adjusting. I mentioned Zito's velocity way down on his fastball. He used to get up into the low 90s with regularity. Now he rarely touches the mid 80s. And when you don't have enough fastball to make a hitter respected, your breaking pitches become much more susceptible to getting whacked.
Lopez flies out to Torres. One away, back to the top, and Reed Johnson.
Reed Johnson, one of the more anxious leadoff hitters. You can see Rodrigo Lopez in the back of your picture there, just getting back to the dugout. Reed's been standing in the box waiting to hit for about 20 seconds. Usually that leadoff hitter gives the pitcher some time to get back into the dugout and towel off, get a drink of water. Reed figures he's been waiting long enough. It's my turn to hit.
Two and one to Johnson. Interesting. Zito was born in Las Vegas and now lives in Southern California. Reed Johnson was born in Southern California, now lives in Las Vegas. Just keep missing each other. I suppose they could meet up in Palm Springs.
There you go.
3-1. Fly to center, and it'll be Torres again.
Well, they both went to college in Southern California. Barry Zito at USC, Reed Johnson at Cal State Fullerton.
Two down in the inning, and Castro takes ball one. Well, the home run ball has been big on this homestand. The Cubs hit 4 in a 7-3 win on Monday. They hit a couple to get back into game 1 of this doubleheader. And Lou Montanez giving the Cubs the lead with a 2-run shot earlier this inning. Right field base hit. Going to roll a while. SCHIERHOLTZ will have to play it off the not-hold door. Little trouble with it. And Castro gets to third with a standing triple. His 7th of the year, as Bob mentioned, among the league leaders in that department. First hit of the doubleheader.
We're starting to see a pattern develop with the defense against Starlin Castro. Most teams choose to bunch their outfielders. So many of his base hits have come up the middle of the field. They squeeze those corner outfielders toward the gaps. That leaves the lines wide open. This time Castro down into the right field corner and cruises into third with a standing triple.
Pitch to Ramirez, ground ball, diving stop, Brandon Crawford, who gets him. What a play to rob an RBI and a hit from Ramirez. The Cubs do grab the lead on the Lou Montanez home run. It's 2-1 after 3.
Taco Bell open 1 a.m. or later.
Aubrey Huff leading off the Giants' 4th.
Well, and you mentioned earlier Brandon Crawford up here for his defense, and man, does he flash some leather here. Nice diving stop. Quickly gets to his feet, wastes no time, no crow hop, no nothing. Just got up to his feet and fired a rocket onto first to get Ramirez.
Huff retired first base to pitcher.
Now batting left fielder Cody Ross.
It'll bring up Cody Ross, who doubled and scored the lone Giants run back in the second. Hasn't been much of a duel in Philadelphia. Cliff Lee has held up his end of the bargain. 7 innings, 1 hit, no runs to date. Josh Beckett, however, gave up 5 runs in 6 innings. He's now out as the Phillies lead the Red Sox 5-zip in the 7th. Shane Victorino and Dominic Brown have gone deep in that one.
Uh-oh.
Not good. Mark O'Neill, the Cubs head athletic trainers out, as Soto and now Mark Riggins and Mike Quade coming out to check on the pitcher.
Sure exactly the nature of this visit to the mound by the training staff, the pitching coach and the manager. Looks like he's not even going to take any warm-up pitches.
Yeah. Well, he had to run over to cover first. Kind of awkwardly had to find the bag, but it seemed like he was all right. A 1-0 count on Cody Ross. You get 2-0.
Cody Ross almost walked into this one. He too stands very close to home plate and then dives in toward that inside corner of the plate. And that fastball just continued to run up and in. Low bridge. That's that play you were talking about, Len, as he gets over to cover and awkwardly has to break up his steps as he gets over there to the bag.
Three and one. Mentioned earlier today, the Dodgers last night pounded the Twins 15-0. They had 25 hits. Well, they're being shut out themselves tonight, 3-0 in the 4th. Ted Lilly on the mound for the Dodgers. Ross draws the walk. Time now for our AT&T trivia question. How many career doubleheaders did Ernie Banks participate?
A good question.
We always talked about let's play 2. It's a great question, and here's why. You often hear in hockey about the Gordie Howe hat trick: a goal, an assist, and a fight. But I think he only actually had a handful, 2 or 3 in his entire career. Ernie always said, let's play 2. So the question is, how many doubleheaders did he actually experience? I'm going to say it's more than a handful.
And Ernie wasn't the kind of guy that looked forward to doubleheaders because he knew he was going to get in the lineup one of them. He played every day. I wish I could remember the specifics, but our old dearly departed buddy Ron Santo used to tell the story about Ernie Banks playing at old Colt 45 Stadium in Houston. Outdoor stadium down there in Texas, middle of summer. It must have been close to 100 degrees, the humidity nearly the same. They had a scheduled doubleheader, and when Ernie came to the ballpark, he was saying, "Let's play 3." Just, a little clever takeoff on his usual "let's play 2." Well, at some point in the first game, Ernie legged out a triple or had to go first to third on a base hit. I'm not sure of the exact circumstances, but slid into third base and got up a little wobbly, was suffering from heat exhaustion or heat stroke, and had to come out of the ball game, and his teammates really gave him a hard time about it. How about "let's play 1, Ernie"?
We'll have Mr. Cub in the booth on Sunday. He will conduct "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" against the White Sox. SCHIERHOLTZ rips it into right. He's had quite a doubleheader. RBI single off the bench in game 1. He's 2 for 2 here in game 2. 19 seasons for Ernie Banks. 2,528 career games. Crawford is 1 for 1. Saved a run with a defensive gem. Swing and a miss. Good block by Soto. Speaking of doubleheaders, I remember when the Padres shared old Jack Murphy / Qualcomm Stadium with the Chargers. They would occasionally do a Friday doubleheader in August. They would be off on Saturday. The Chargers would play an exhibition game, and then they'd resume this baseball series on Sunday. It'd be a 3-game weekend series, doubleheader Friday, no game Saturday. Not a lot of teams share ballparks anymore. Let's see, the A's do. Toronto does. Might be it.
Saturday off in San Diego?
How about that? How many Saturdays do you get off? None.
0
during the regular season, usually. Ground ball, Baker behind the back on the flip, safe at first. Wow, what a play at second base. Jeff Baker playing point guard, going behind his back to get it to Castro. 2 down.
Well, that's the only way you're going to be able to turn 2. If Jeff Baker takes the time to right himself and make the underhand toss to Castro, they have no chance to get Crawford at first. But with the backhanded toss, maybe, just maybe, you can turn that double play. But Crawford able to leg it out at first base.
First and third, and it's Eli Whiteside, the catcher, with the pitcher ZITO on deck. Don't want to make a mistake here. The base to play with if you're Rodrigo Lopez. The way I would characterize it, behind the back flip, Bob, it's all about the result. Baker flips that ball over Castro's head. Ross scores. It's the worst play imaginable, but it was outstanding because it was a perfect feed.
The thing is, we've seen the Cubs and other major league teams take ground balls during batting practice, and it's not unusual after they take their 30 or 40 or 50 ground balls of those last few, they work on some behind-the-back tosses, some between-the-leg tosses, just in case. Doesn't happen very often. At that time, Jeff Baker right on the money with his behind-the-back flip.
It was perfect. 3-0 on Whiteside.
Do it any better than that. To Castro in stride, just didn't have enough time to complete the play.
And you would imagine they've done it before. You wouldn't want to surprise Castro either. He didn't look like he was a bit shocked that Baker did it behind his back. ZITO, ball one. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Cubs lead 2-1. Gio saying throw it right down the middle. And he did below. Our AT&T UVerse multi-view. 1 hit in the inning. Ross at the bottom is at third. Crawford at second. Whiteside at first. 2-1. Ground ball to Baker. This time a conventional flip to Castro, and they leave him loaded. Bottom 4, Cubs 2, Giants 1. Question: 19 years Ernie Banks played in how many double headers? 318.
Wow.
How about that? 16 and a half double headers per year. Things have changed, haven't they? And
yes,
he was
indeed.
a little better with his batting average in double headers.
That's why he wanted to play too.
How about that? A quarter of his career happened to be in double headers. Over 300. So when he said let's play 2, generally they did. I'd be curious to know, and maybe somebody on our crew does, what time they started double headers at Wrigley Field back in the 60s. And really all the way up till 88. When the lights were installed, I would imagine noon, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Although in around 1965-66, if you had the Dodgers here, Koufax and Drysdale, you could probably play 2 games in about 4.5 hours or less. Two strikes on Carlos Pena. Again, Burris way out and right from the second base position as Pena fouls it off.
Carlos has been more willing lately to drive that ball to the opposite field. Giving him a lot of room in that gap in left center, and needless to say, the entire left side of the infield wide open.
Strikes out on a curveball. Our Menards Grounds Crew winner, Doug Potts from Joliet, Illinois, helping out tonight. Been a long day for the grounds crew. Swing and the miss by Soto. Coy Hill hit a home run in the opener, tied the game in the second inning. Soto seeing his first action in this series. Ground ball gobbled up by Brandon Crawford. Thursday is Majestic Day at Wrigley Field. Don't miss the action as the Cubs battle the Giants at 1:20. Throughout the game, autographed game-worn jerseys will be awarded to lucky fans in random seats, or as Bob said, is it random fans in lucky seats? Compliments of Majestic. If it happens in baseball, it happens in Majestic. I think it's lucky fans in lucky seats.
There you go.
Nothing random about it.
Boy, and on a beautiful day like this at Wrigley Field, every seat's a lucky seat. What a day at the ballpark. Absolutely gorgeous baseball weather. Would have preferred a different outcome in game one, but what a great day to be watching baseball at Wrigley Field.
2-0 to Jeff Baker. Now 3-0. Soriano on deck.
You green light Jeff Baker against the lefty 3-0?
Yeah, why
I
not?
think absolutely. With a 1-run lead in the game, 2 outs in the inning, if it's to his liking, I'd let him hack at it. Not even close.
Not.
Galaxy, the official remodeler of the Chicago Cubs, brings you pitch tracks. You can see quite a smattering of pitches there. ZITO not close to the zone on any of the 4.
Well, I remember a spring training matchup with the Giants in 2007. And we had Barry Zito facing Alfonso Soriano. Zito had just signed a 7-year, $126 million deal. And Soriano 8 years, $136. Talking about how Brian Sabian and Jim Hendry were very nervous. Exhibition game, 2 guys with huge contracts matching up. Soriano's deal, the 5th most lucrative in Major League history at the time. Zito's was the richest ever for a pitcher. It's since been topped. The one thing we've been hearing about Albert Pujols, Bob, is he's ready to enter free agency, and more so before the season, as the length 10 years kept getting thrown out there. with the injuries he's suffered this year, he's not young anymore. I don't know. 10 years.
It might be tough to get 10, although you never know. Albert is Albert.
You're right. A-Rod's gotten 2 10-year contracts.
It's just such a risky proposition. Just the nature of the game. One debilitating injury could rob you of your effectiveness. Take your legs out from under you, injure a throwing arm, especially for a pitcher, the guys that are very susceptible to throwing arm injuries anyway. That length of contract can really be debilitating for an organization.
Fly ball to right, and it'll be caught for the final out by Nate Schierholtz. Still 2-1. Cubs with a lead after 4.
Three, if you're the 500th texter, you could win 5 $5 foot-long subs from Subway.
Glad to have you with us tonight. You missed it earlier. The Giants grabbed the opener 13-7. The leadoff man Andres Torres takes a strike. Way out in front, and he pulled it foul.
If it looks like Andres Torres is as he is, along with Alfonso Soriano, they swing probably the biggest bats in the major leagues, 35.5 inches, 35 ounces.
Shallow left, and it'll get down for a base hit. So the leadoff man is on. Torres had a huge 2010. 67 extra base hits last year. Well, the world champs.
Torres definitely a threat to run. We mentioned it in game 1. We mentioned it earlier in game 2. The Giants do not run a lot, but Torres 7 out of 10 on the season, does have base stealing speed.
Another throw to first. Get a third throw.
Well, this is a very subtle way to stall for a little bit of time. As Emmanuel Burris made his way to the plate, John Graybo got up in the Cubs bullpen and began to throw in a hurry down there. We mentioned Pablo Sandoval, the switch hitter, much better from the left side of the plate. Could possibly bring Graybo in to turn him around if this turns into a dangerous inning.
You've already gotten out of Lopez a lot, considering he has been pitching in the bullpen for a while. Sure, you'd love for him to get through 5 and have a shot at his first win as a Cub. First goal is to win the game. Runner goes. Here's a throw. Didn't get him. In fact, Bob, 9 appearances out of the bullpen for Lopez, 9 innings total. So for him to get into the 5th tonight, not bad.
A huge jump that time by Torres at first base. Very little chance for Giovanni Soto. Now Torres in scoring position with nobody out. Expect to see Burris move that ball to the right side somehow, either with a bunt or try to hook that ball on the ground to the right side.
Most pitches thrown as a Cub came in that start in his Cubs debut, 87, and he's nearing that. And he was starting prior to that at AAA in the Braves organization. Nice play, Carlos Pena, and he's going to beat Burris, who lays out. Runner at third, a tying run there with 1 out. And for the time being, Pena kept the Cubs in the lead.
Nice diving play by Carlos Pena. It's unfortunate he had to leave his feet. He would have had a shot at Andres Torres at third base. He was off on contact. Pena is able to get up quickly. He may have been able to get that lead runner at third, but does the right thing. Take the sure out at first base. You're out and you're dirty.
See how the Cubs play it here. The corner men. Ramirez in. Pena also in a little bit, and they're back up the middle. Torres at third and 1 out. Mentioned earlier that Pablo Sandoval left the game Sunday against Cleveland with a tight quad. Injury time earlier this season. Missed 40 games with a right hamate bone fracture. And had surgery to remove part of the bone in Arizona. I guess he lost a little more weight. Part of the hamate bone.
How much that weighs.
Broken bat fly ball. Johnson coming in. Torres toward the plate. Here's the throw there. Out! The Giants, no, safe. The ball dropped by Soto, who's heading back to the dugout. It's 2-2. And now Soto can't believe it. He's saying, I'm taking the ball out of the glove. Well, the Giants were furious. They thought Torres got in originally. Now Tim McClellan's going to ask the other 3 umpires what they saw. We will get benefit of replay. The umpires will not.
The home plate umpire does not always have the best look at that play. He's getting into a position to see the runner sliding and look for a tag when the ball is out in front of the plate, as it is here to Giovanni Soto. Now the ball's out already. No, it isn't. There it is. But he never really had command of it. He wasn't taking it out of the glove with his bare hand.
Yeah, you got to be reaching into the glove.
Boy, Gio did a great.
Dust. You know what, Bob? I think. And McClellan called him out. So his view of it was that Torres would have been out if the ball hadn't come out. Our replay seems to indicate that Torres got in anyway. There's a lot of dirt coming across the plate. But Gio did not have control of the ball. So it's 2-2, and Mike Quaddy's pleading his case. Did it look like the right call to you?
Well, unfortunately, I think it was. Had Giovanni Soto dropped his mask and been reaching into his catcher's mitt when the ball came out, I think they probably would have called the out at home plate, saying, just like at second base on a double play, that he was taking the ball out of his glove. But because the ball came out cleanly without him ever reaching for it, unfortunately, I think McClellan might have gotten it right. Good strong throw by Reed Johnson. A nice job of blocking the plate by Giovanni Soto. Made the tag on the back. It looked like Torres never got to the plate, but right there the ball just comes trickling out of the glove. You could see Gio was holding his mask in his right hand. Might have helped if he dropped that mask and grabbed it with the bare hand. They may have gotten the call in the event he went into that glove with his bare hand.
Now they will appeal at third to see if Torres left early. I guess the other clarification, Bob, is a tag play like a catch? Whereas a catch, you have to be reaching in to pull the ball out for it to be a legal catch. At any rate, when the ball came out of the mitt, McClellan called him safe, so it's 2-2, and Sandoval, I think it's a sac fly on that, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So picks up his 18th RBI. Sacrifice fly.
Catchers are taught from the time you begin playing the position that on tag plays at home plate, when you have time, get your bare hand on the baseball and then protect it with your glove. That way, if a runner comes in and tries to kick the ball out of your mitt, you've got it securely gripped in your right hand, and he may kick the glove away, but you will still have the baseball in your right hand. And because of the evolution of the catcher's mitt, it's a lot like a first baseman's glove now with more padding. A lot of catchers just use that one-handed swipe tag, and unfortunately that time it came out.
Baker just can't get it as Huff grounds it into right for a base hit. Pledge your allegiance to the Cubs by becoming a member of the Cubs Club, the official fan club of the Chicago Cubs. This year's Cubs Club features a new bleacher crew tier and an improved marquee tier. Members will enjoy exclusive perks, experiences, and merchandise throughout the 2011 Cubs season. To join today, visit Cubs.com. The 0-1 to Cody Ross into left. Two on for Schierholtz, who's already 2 for 2. Right, here comes Mike Quade.
Bruce Bochy has a whole bench full of right-handed hitters available should Mike Quade go to John Grabo in this situation. See if he chooses to go to one of his right-handed hitting outfielders.
It's a Honda call to the pen. Rodrigo Lopez did a nice job in a spot start coming out of the bullpen. He leaves with a 2-2 tie, and we'll be back. It's a Honda call to the pen. John Grabo worked the 9th inning in the opener, gave up a home run to Miguel Tejada, and a base hit by Nate Schierholtz. And Reed Johnson can't handle it. It'll be an RBI single for Nate Schierholtz, and the Giants lead 3-2. There will be an error on Reed Johnson. That allowed Cody Ross to get to third. Well, how about that call at the plate now, looming very large. The Cubs thought they were out of the inning with a lead. Now they trail.
They've had to get into the bullpen. More activity in the Cubs bullpen. Jeff Samardzija, right-hander, throwing down there. That ball came up and hit Reed Johnson right in the heel of the glove, allowing Cody Ross to turn the corner at second and head on to third base.
Crawford went around on appeal. Mark Ripperger made the call from third. All in all, Bob, I thought Rodrigo Lopez did a nice job. Gave up a lot of hits, but limited the damage, and has given his team a chance tonight.
Yeah, under the circumstances, he did exactly what I think Mike Quade and Mark Riggins were hoping for. Just get us into the middle part of the ball game with a chance to win. Had to tap dance around some traffic on the bases from time to time, but unfortunately a drop ball at home plate cost him a run, and then John Grabo on his first pitch gives up an RBI single.
Runner Schierholtz, he'll get second standing, as Soto had a little trouble handling that pitch in the dirt. Probably wouldn't have thrown anyway with a runner at third. 2 steals in the inning for the Giants.
It's a nice stop by Gio. You can't be too concerned with the runner going first to second when you have a guy perched at third base. The most important thing is to keep that ball in front, keep that runner at third.
That time Crawford held up.
Close.
That's high, and it's 3-2. Whiteside is on deck. Fly ball hit well. This is trouble. Off the warning track. 2 are in. Crawford with a double. That makes it 5-2. So the lefties getting to John Graybo here in the 5th.
Cubs are playing short in the outfield. Soriano in left, Reed Johnson in center, both playing very shallow, and that time Crawford beats him with a gapper all the way to the warning track to drive home 2 more.
So this previously anemic Giants offense, last in the majors in runs, going into this doubleheader, have scored 18 times in 14 innings.
If you didn't know any better by looking at the numbers, Len, you'd say the Giants were sandbagging. You know, that guy that you play golf against, you ask him what is his handicap, he says I'm an 18. You go out and play and the guy shoots a 79 or something like that, takes your money. That's a sandbagger. That's what the Giants offense has done to the Cubs here today. Came into town moaning and groaning because they were having trouble scoring runs. Thank goodness we have good pitching, and they have just pounded on the Cubs pitching staff today.
27 hits. Little blooper. Base hit. 6-2. 5 consecutive hits.
There's a little defensive swing that time by Eli Whiteside. Change up right off the end of the bat. This does not carry enough for Reed Johnson to have a play, or die quickly enough for Jeff Baker to have a play.
5-run inning. All the runs coming after 2 are out. Again, it did look like the proper call at home plate on that bang play, which turned into a sac fly. Pablo Sandoval. And since then, the Giants not only have taken the lead, but have added on. And now it's 3-0 on the pitcher. The other part of this, Bob, Mike Quaddy wants Graybo to get through this inning because his spot due up second in the bottom of the 5th. Rather not use another pitcher and have to double switch this early with a shorter bench after the roster move in between games. Ball 4. They have batted around. The guy who started the inning coming up for the second time here in the 5th, Andres Torres.
Center fielder Andres Torres.
Visit from Mark Riggins. This is an awful spot for a manager to be in because it's right now down to survival with the way your roster's constructed here for game 2 of a doubleheader. Still got to get through the end of the game with your bullpen, but you want to give yourself a chance offensively as Torres pops out. Quanti will be able to use a pinch hitter for Graybo in the bottom of the 5th. But a devastating inning for the Cubs. They give up 5. It's now 6-2 Giants. Cubs now trail 6-2 as Lou Montanez, who gave the Cubs a lead in the 3rd inning with a 2-run homer, leading off the bottom of the 5th, his first homer of the year. Sharply hit ground ball and a candy hop at the end for Brandon Crawford. Tonight at 10, no parades, no street festivals, but one driver still got a ticket over a mysterious special event. When he couldn't get answers, he turned to Target 5, fighting unfair tickets and winning tonight on the NBC 5 News at 10. Tony Campana batting for John Graybo. Bob, coming into tonight and games not started by the top 3 in the Cubs rotation, meaning Ryan Dempster, Carlos Zambrano, Matt Garza. The Cubs have gone 8-23.
Ooh.
Obviously those early season injuries to Randy Wells and Andrew Kashner hurt, but got to find a way to get better production out of those bottom 2 spots as Campana's out.
Well, it really goes all the way back to spring training, Len. Some of the depth that the Cubs thought they were going to have in the starting rotation either retired or had minor meltdowns and ended up somewhere else. Todd Wellemeyer with an injury and then decided to retire. Braden Looper decided to retire. Carlos Silva, the one that had the meltdown, he moved on. If those three guys had been healthy and pitching down at the minor leagues level, or maybe even up here at the big league level, you would have had some insurance and some depth in your starting rotation. But it was very thin to start the season, and then when Cashner and Wells went down, it got even thinner.
Inside corner and a 1-1 count on Reed Johnson. ZITO has his curveball working tonight, 1-2. Remember, this is his first start since April 16th.
A long layoff for Barry ZITO, but I do commend the Giants. He made 4 rehab starts, including 9 innings his last time out. So many times guys coming back off injuries, whether they be position players or pitchers, if they have a couple of good outings, even if it's only 3 or 4 innings, you rush them right back to the big leagues. If they get 3 or 4 at bats and look like they're okay, you rush them right back to the big leagues. And it usually takes a while to make that adjustment back to big league speed. But ZITO was forced to make 4 rehab starts, and as I said, won a complete game his last time out, and he was ready to take the ball today.
Sharply struck and rolled into center. Watch Comcast Sportsnet game replays on demand with Xfinity TV from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Astros hit the ball hard 2 times. He lined to left in the first inning and hit a triple the other way in the third. Some games going final now. Tampa Bay beat Cincinnati 4-3. That was a 1-0 game into the 8th inning. Got pretty crazy at the end. Evan Longoria hit a home run on the second pitch of the bottom of the 9th of Logan Ondrusek to win it for the Rays. It was after the Reds tied it up in the top of the 9th off Kyle Farnsworth. Cliff Lee with a gem, a 2-hit complete game shutout to beat the Red Sox. How about that, Bob? The Red Sox offense had 2 hits and no runs at Citizens Bank Park.
Well, it is Cliff Lee.
It is, and they say good pitching beats good hitting.
Yeah. Well, he is on some kind of a roll, though. As good as he's been throughout his career, he may be better than ever this season.
Red Sox came in leading the majors, only team with over 400 runs. They didn't get any tonight. I'll figure out what Cliff Lee has done here in June with that start tonight.
He's only given up 1 run all month, hasn't he?
I think you're right. 42 innings, 1 run. 5-0 with a 0.21 June ERA. 3 consecutive complete games for Cliff Lee and all shutouts. How about that? 6-2. With the Dan Patrick Show on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in as Dan talks with former Cubs skipper and CSN Crosstown analyst Jim Riggleman. Get your sports day started with the Dan Patrick Show tomorrow morning from 8 to 11, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Jim Riggleman will join our pre- and post-game coverage Friday and Sunday here on CSN. The Cubs hosting the White Sox. Righty Jeff Samardzija against Emmanuel Burris. Fastball for a strike. Just a follow-up, Bob, on Cliff Lee. The lone run in his 5 June starts against the Cubs on June 11th. He won that game, won 8 innings. And it's the only run he has allowed in 5 starts this month.
That was his 4th complete game of the season tonight.
Well, it was the 3rd consecutive complete game shutout. Yes, 4th complete game. Yep.
He's so lucky.
So he's gone at least 8 innings. 7 times already.
Jeez, do you even have the bullpen show up on nights that he pitches?
Well, how about Halladay? Roy Halladay has 5 complete games. Two the count on Burris. I don't have to tell you how valuable that is. I mean, you had a righty and a lefty who were horses. You don't completely forget about the bullpen, but you know you don't have to use a lot when Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay are on the mound.
And it allows you to use your bullpen more liberally in those other 3 starts. You play matchups earlier in the ball game if you feel that's going to help you win, because you know 2 out of 5 you're going to get deep into the ball game with your starters. From our Galaxy pitch tracks, just a 97-mile-an-hour heater blown right by Burris.
I mean, obviously, as a manager with 25 guys, you want it all. But if you can't have it all, wouldn't that be a good place to start? The top 2 starters being guys who would be an ace of any team in baseball.
Yeah, if you can afford them, that's a real good place to start.
In the case of those 2 guys, I'm not saying you would take both of them over every other starter in baseball, but it would be an interesting argument with all the different teams. It wouldn't be a no-brainer. I mean, if you say, well, would you want Felix Hernandez or Roy Halladay? You might say Hernandez, but it wouldn't just be a no-brainer. Just foul.
For me right now, it is a no-brainer. Those 2 guys are the most consistent starting pitchers in the game right now. It's more of a shock when they don't go 8 innings than when they go a complete game shutout. I mean, there are certainly a lot of pitchers in the major leagues that on a given night can go out there and dazzle, or are capable of throwing a perfect game, completely stymieing the offense of the other team. But on a consistent basis, those guys seem to do it every time out.
Well, it's quality and quantity. I mean, Justin Verlander would
sure
give them a run for their money.
I'll take Verlander as my number 3. How's that?
Sure. Why not? Ramirez makes a catch to retire Sandoval. Cole Hamels might be raising his hand going, don't forget about me. I've got a 249 and 9 wins.
Unbelievable.
And I'm on the same staff.
It's lost in the shuffle.
Aubrey Huff. Tickets are still available for many of the great matchups for the 2011 season. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com, call 1-800-THE-CUBS, or visit the Wrigley Field box office. Pitch in the dirt, and it's 3-0. Play of the game, no question about it. The sac fly by Pablo Sandoval. In the 5th inning, Andres Torres scored as Giovanni Soto dropped the ball after the tag. Like Tim McClellan had called him out, and then safe as the ball got out of his glove. Tied it up, and the Giants would go on to add 4 more runs. 2-out walk to Huff.
Xfinity high-speed action replay. This is the play Len's talking about. Great catch and throw by Reed Johnson right on the money. Giovanni Soto had the plate blocked, applied the tag, and then the ball came out of the mitt before he could fully control it. Umpires did gather together, all 4 of them, to see if somebody had a better view, but nobody saw it well enough to overrule Tim McClellan, so it stood as a run for the Giants.
Slider strike on Ross, who's been on all 3 times and has scored twice. Kick and the pitch, up and in.
Good fastball to change eye level right there. That one was right up in Cody Ross's eyes, running the count to 1-2. Good waste pitch that time.
Swing and a miss to end the inning. 2 punch outs for Jeff Samardzija in the 6th. We go to the bottom of the inning. 6-2 San Francisco.
September 25th through the 30th, 2012 at Medina. To be included in a random draw to purchase tickets and a chance to see Team USA versus Team Europe, go to RyderCup.com. We were talking about sandbaggers earlier. No sandbaggers there. They're all legit.
Here's ZITO against Ramirez, bottom of the 6th. Ball 1. I like this approach. Ramirez was going to take until he got a strike. Recognizing the situation here, down 4. Got a good pitch to handle that time and fouled it off to the right.
Cubs need base runners. Need to pile up a bunch of base runners and then come up with some of those timely hits that have been lacking most of the season. We've seen more of them lately. Let's get some guys on base.
Chased a bad one there. And Whiteside will fire to Huff to complete the out. 3 strikeouts for ZITO.
Our Galaxy pitch tracks. Breaking pitch from Barry ZITO, bounced right on the inside corner of home plate. Gets the swing and a miss from Ramirez, and Whiteside will toss on for the out at first.
Big swing by Pena, and he fouled back for ball 1. So with Boston losing tonight, the Yankees leading 11-2 over Milwaukee in the bottom of the 8th. The Yanks with a pretty good chance to get a game and a half up on Boston. Was Zach Greinke's ERA after tonight, Bob? 5.63, and the Cubs knocked him around here at Wrigley Field.
There's a guy with the kind of stuff that just doesn't translate into that kind of an ERA.
Two and 2. Here's a pitch. We'll do it again.
When you mentioned a Yankee-Boston race in the American League East, the thing that's really kept Boston in it is their record against their own division. They're 18-9 against the American League East. The Yankees 13-12.
Full count, 3-2. It's a final from Detroit. The Mets beat the Tigers 14-3. So if Cleveland can beat Arizona, the Indians will jump back into a first place tie. And Cleveland leads 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd at Chase Field. Last night, Orlando Cabrera with a game-winning home run in the 9th. As the Tribe beat the D-backs. Oh, look out, Carlos Pena. There's ball 4.
Pena looked like he was surprised by that fastball up and in, and rightfully so. Look at where the first 6 pitches of the sequence were, and then the last one right at his dome. And obviously Zito just trying to stay away. Then that last fastball up and in sends Carlos Pena on down to first base.
Wild one in Toronto tonight. 7-6. The Pirates lead the Blue Jays in the bottom of the ninth. 2 homers for the Pirates. Alex Presley and Andrew McCutchen. The Blue Jays have 4, including Jose Bautista with his 24th. He is playing third. Making that switch from right. I think as long as it doesn't affect his offense, that's a good move for Bautista. Swing and a miss.
We talked about it the other day. Jose Bautista in his time in the National League played a lot of infield, played a lot of third base for the Pittsburgh Pirates, was a light hitting utility infielder. But he has really come on into his own up there north of the border.
Cardinals got a much needed win in Baltimore tonight, 6-2. Kyle Loesch with his 8th victory beat Zach Britton. Dave Righetti on the bullpen phone. We'll see who the Giants get up on that right field line. 3-2 with 1 out. Ground ball to third. Sandoval, Burris, Huff. That's it. Now he can sit back down in the Giants bullpen. Inning over. 6-2 San Francisco. Cubs live and play on the field as well as off. Subscriptions start at just $29.95. For more information and to order, visit Cubs.com/fineline.
mystery guest for our 7th inning stretch today. Well, it's not really a mystery. It's you.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Never gets old, does it, partner?
No, it doesn't. I'm nervous.
I'm nervous for you.
Thank you.
I'll be here for moral support, but this is definitely a solo effort. If I see any rotten tomatoes coming up from the stands, I'll deflect them. Better chance that they'll throw roses up here after you're done.
Yeah. Nate Schierholtz 4 for 4 in the doubleheader, 3 for 3 in game 2. There's a great podcast hosted by Mark Maron. I can't even give you the name of the podcast. This is a family show. But he interviewed Gary Shandling, great comedian, former star of the Larry Sanders Show. And we're talking about performing, you know, going on late night talk shows and doing your stand-up act. And Gary Shandling said, producer of one of the shows will remain unnamed, but after I finished my bit, I walked off stage, and the first thing the producer said was, "It wasn't your fault." And then he went on to say that when someone says that to you, your first thought is, "That was my fault." So I just envision, after singing the stretch, you saying off the air, "Partner, it wasn't your fault."
No, it wasn't your fault. Bad acoustics here at Wrigley Field. Although it doesn't seem to bother Jimmy Buffett or Paul McCartney later this summer. It's tough singing out of this booth.
Ground ball to Jeff Baker.
In the grand scheme of things, this is a big inning for Jeff Samardzija. We've talked about this off the air a few times. Jeff has had some outings this year where he's come in and dazzled in his first inning of work and then really struggled in his second, or vice versa. Had a tough first inning and then bounced back to have a real strong second inning. It'd be good to see him put 2 good, solid innings together here tonight.
Crawford with a 2-run double in the 5th. It's been the big inning. The first 78 games, the Giants had 2 5-run innings, rather 3 5-run innings, tied for the fewest in the National League. They've had 2 in this doubleheader. The 5th inning in game 1, the 5th inning in game 2. There's veteran righty Guillermo Mota. Two and 1. With Mota getting loose, getting near the bottom of the order, and with the double play ball ZITO got to get out of the 6th inning, and he looked like he was starting to lose his command just a little bit. You'd have to think the Giants are going to get ZITO out of the game feeling good about himself after 6 innings.
And as you mentioned, they're coming off an off day. Their bullpen is rested and ready to go. Nobody was overextended in that first game.
97 on the fastball as he gets Crawford.
Take a look at our Galaxy pitch tracks. Jeff Samardzija just pounding that strike zone with a good mid to upper 90s fastball tonight.
Pat Burrell has come into the on-deck circle for ZITO if Whiteside gets on. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Tim McClellan start to walk out in front of home plate to give Giovanni Soto a little extra time, and Gio actually put his catcher's mitt on Tim McClellan's chest, said, "I'm fine, let's go."
Reed Johnson in center. Time for the stretch.
Sing it, partner.
Today's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Cubs TV play-by-play man Len Casper.
All right, all you wonderful Cub fans. Tonight, it's for Ronnie. Number 10, we think about you every day, so sing it loud. Here we go, Gary. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it strikes you out at the old ball game. We miss you, Ronnie. Let's get some runs. For a limited time at participating McDonald's for $1.89.
Nice job, partner.
Thank
well
you.
done. Well done.
This Ronnie saying, all wonderful Cub fans.
Not quite so sure there was a D in there. It was always wonderful.
Root for the Cubbies. Oh, he just sang it with all his heart. And we do think about Ronnie every single day. Barry Zito gets the bottom of the 7th after his spot did not come up in the top of the inning. Jeff Baker pops into short right. Burris will get it.
I believe Zito's probably on a real short leash here. You saw he's up over the 100-pitch mark now, and as you mentioned, and it's a great point, Bruce Bochy would like to get him out of there on a positive. He's had a real good outing. First time back, and Mota's ready to go, just standing down there in that right field bullpen, waiting to see what happens in this inning.
Soriano turns on it, and this one's going to find the seats down the left field line.
We talked throughout the evening about Barry Zito's velocity being down on his fastball. One way to help counteract that is take a little bit more off your breaking pitches. That last straight changeup at 75 miles an hour.
Schierholtz. 2 down. Well, he called up Marcos Mateo in the Cubs bullpen. changeup he missed outside. 2-0. And the guy who's supplied the only 2 runs for the Cubs on a home run back in the 3rd inning. The final from New York, Freddie Garcia over Zach Greinke. Yankees 12, Brewers 2. Tell you, Milwaukee didn't get any favors in terms of the interleague schedule. They had to go to Fenway Park. They hosted Tampa Bay. And now they're at Yankee Stadium. Ground ball, Brandon Crawford. And ZITO seems to be getting stronger, although I'm sure that is definitely it for him tonight. He'll leave with a 6-2 lead. Will hit 9th, meaning he'll lead off the bottom of the 8th. And hard throwing right-hander Marcos Mateo, 20 previous big league games, his first time up. Back for a second tour here with the Cubs this season.
Throwing strike's a big key for Marcos Mateo. As you mentioned, he throws extremely hard, doesn't always know exactly where it's going. The Cubs could really use a couple of strong innings out of Mateo here tonight.
Well, they got that from Jeff Somarja. Two innings, a walk, 3 strikeouts, no hits. Pat Burrell in for Barry Zito at the plate. Burrell homered, knocked in 3, had 3 hits in game 1. Guy was clean shaven when this doubleheader started. Two and one. Popped out of the mitt of Soto. 3-2. Checked his swing. Hit it foul. Wind in the pitch. Struck him out.
Back-to-back sliders once it got to the full count. The first one was a check swing to the first base side. This one with a little more downward movement sneaks underneath the bat of Pat Burrell for the first out.
Torres, pop fly, shallow left center. Ooh, that's dangerous. Castro made the catch. What a catch by Starlin Castro, but that takes your breath away. I mean, that's a collision waiting to happen.
It looked like Soriano had the best angle on that ball. Reed Johnson gives way. Castro ends up making the circus catch, and barrel rolling right into Soriano. It takes great concentration to stay on that ball as a shortstop, knowing that you've got two outfielders streaking in from their position. Castro able to maintain his focus, made a nice catch.
Fireworks?
A little impromptu fireworks show out beyond the right center field wall. Not sure if it's totally legal, but looks like it's over already.
Two and one. Another random.
A little distracting to a hitter to have fireworks going off out there behind the batter's eye. Is this a holiday? Did I miss something?
It's practice for the 4th of July. Two-two to Burris, and he got him. 2 strikeouts for Mateo here in the 8th inning. Bottom 8 coming up. The Cubs trail by 4. Fans couldn't get tickets to the White Sox or Cardinals series at Wrigley. Cubs Destinations has spots available for these highly anticipated matchups. All standard packages include great tickets, first-class hotel accommodations, a special Cubs gift bag, a tour of the ballpark, and a private meet and greet with a current Cubs player. For more information, visit Cubs.com. See some changeups here, especially with Guillermo Mota facing a left-handed batter. Kosuke Fukudome, who came into play right in the top of the inning. That's a sinking fastball. Good movement for a strike.
Mota's been banged around a little bit lately. He's been pitching mostly long relief. 8 of his 25 outings this year have been 2 or more innings. He's given up at least a run in 7 of his last 10 appearances. Opponents hitting .344 over that stretch.
Actually, that first pitch was a changeup. Second pitch, a fastball up in the 90s. Changeup low. 2-1. Kosuke went 0 for 4 with a walk from the leadoff spot in Game 1. Popped the mid at 93 to make it 2-2. Pop fly left field. Cody Ross puts it in his pocket. 1 away.
Center fielder Ray Johnson.
Pirates held on, beat the Blue Jays 7-6. In Toronto, Kevin Correa got his 10th win.
How about that?
Beat JoJo Reyes. Joel Hanrahan with his 23rd save, and the Pirates are within 3 of the lead in the NL Central. Johnson just ticked it into the glove. 0-2. Texas with a 7-2 lead at Houston in the 9th. Ian Kinsler, Josh Hamilton, and Mitch Moreland have all hit home runs for the Rangers. Johnson chased a breaking ball out of the zone for strike 3.
Well, Guillermo Mota's been doing this for a long time on our Galaxy pitch tracks. 87-mile-an-hour slider working its way off that outside corner. Very tough to pick up his pitches. Tough to see the rotation, especially on that straight changeup.
Castro on the first pitch. Airs it out to right. SCHIERHOLTZ is there. They go down quietly on 9 pitches in the 8th. 6-2 Giants.
Right here at Wrigley Field as the Cubs look to even the score with the White Sox. Live coverage begins Friday at noon from the ballparks. Cubs White Sox Friday at noon on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Giants trying to sweep the Cubs in a doubleheader. Of course, partner, they do not play the games on paper. However, Tim Lincecum and Matt Cain are in the offing. Wednesday and Thursday. Cubs will counter with Ryan Dempster and Carlos Zambrano, so we could have two really good pitching matchups. It's not going to get any easier in terms of the Cubs offense trying to score against Lincecum and Cain. Having said that, the Cubs counter with their top two starters, Lincecum and Dempster tomorrow, Cain and Zambrano on Thursday. I think what it tells you is Dempster and Zambrano will have to be on their game.
Even a light hitting offense like the Giants, you give them back-to-back games like they've had today against the Cubs pitching staff, they start to believe that they're better than they really are, and certainly can't let that happen. Ryan Dempster needs to go out there and dazzle them.
Hit well to deep left, and it will get off the wall just below the basket. Sandoval to second, and he slides in safely under the tag. Second ball that hit just beneath the basket and left in this game. Cody Ross hit the other one earlier in the second.
Elevated fastball at 93. Sandoval got it off the barrel of the bat just below the basket. Had to chug into second base with a double.
Aubrey Huff. And it'll be Soriano to make the catch. Cubs have just been unable to sustain any momentum. Still without a 3-game winning streak all year. Beat up on Jhoulys Chacín yesterday in the makeup game against the Rockies. Pena caught it, and they're going to double off Sandoval. So the top of the ninth is over on 6 pitches. We'll go to the bottom of the ninth. Tall mountain to climb for the Cubs offense, down 4. MLB.com @bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @bat to 31826 or visit Cubs.com for details. Special thanks to both our home television crews for a hard day's and a hard night's work here at Wrigley Field for this day-night doubleheader. See if the Cubs can pull off a big late rally here. At least make Brian Wilson get up, throw some pitches in the bullpen as Mota starts the bottom of the ninth. Ball one to Ramirez. Swing and a miss on a slider. The producer of Cubs baseball on CSN is Bob Albrecht, our director Dave Turner, our associate producer Tamara Anderson, Christine Charbonneau, our stage manager in the booth, Joe Vinci, our TD, our technical director tonight, Mark Harper is our tech manager. Didn't bother Mark tonight. I didn't break anything, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Corno Jr. is our senior executive producer. We try to make life easy on Mark if we can. And again, great work by our entire crew. That's low. 3-1. Yep, long day. Even for Giant fans. Ramirez, a towering blast, and it will go for a home run. 6-3. That's his ninth and his third in 3 games. He hit 2 yesterday against the Rockies.
That's a start from our Galaxy pitch tracks. Just a grooved fastball, middle of the thighs, middle of the plate. Towering fly ball into the bleachers in left center field. 298
career home runs now for Aramis Ramirez. Javier Lopez, a lefty, will come in to face Carlos Pena. It's a Honda pitching change, and we'll be back. Lopez comes in, and we just mentioned Brian Wilson, and he is up in the Giants bullpen.
Javier Lopez has been death on left-handed hitters this season. A 107 batting average for lefties.
Still looking for glue or tape underneath that beard, but I don't see any. So 6-3 game. And the pitch to Pena. Slings it up there at 82. 1 ball, no strikes. That's a strike.
Well, you can see why Lopez is so tough on lefties. Really crossfires on that first base side of the rubber, low arm angle.
You've got to think it's one and done for Lopez. I mean, the closer's up. Bruce Bochy probably just used him. You got righties coming up, and Soto and Baker are guys who hit lefties a lot better than righties. Three and one. And Gio's under 200 against righties, over 300 versus lefties. And we know about Jeff Baker's splits the last couple of years. And then you have Alfonso Soriano after Baker. Ball 4. And it looks like Dave Righetti is trying to find out if Wilson is ready. And he is. Here comes the beard. A Honda call to the pen, and we'll be back in a moment. Honda call to the pen. Quick numbers on Wilson. Tied for the major league lead with 23 saves. He's blown 2. He's been successful in his last 11 chances. And he's given up 1 run over his last 17 appearances.
And now the good news. Giovanni Soto 2 for 3 lifetime against the beard.
There you go. Guy on deck, Jeff Baker, hit a big home run in San Francisco a couple of years ago off Wilson. 1 ball, 1 strike.
He used to throw an occasional curveball, an occasional slider, but this season so far he's been tailing 2-seam fastball and cutter. 2 pitches only.
Tapper, that's a fair ball. Whiteside picks it up and gets the first out of the inning at first base.
It just hits the top half of the baseball. That hard sinker working its way down to the bottom of the strike zone. He just pounded it into that dirt in front of home plate for Eli Whiteside to scoop and throw to first for the out.
That home run we're talking about was back in 2009. September 24th. And it was a game winner. Turned a 2-1 deficit into a Cubs 3-2 win. Baker was late on the cutter, 1-2. Runner at second. Cubs trail by 3 in the ninth. Earlier this year, Brian Wilson spent some time with Charlie Sheen, who is doing some research for the upcoming installment of the Major League movie series. Of course, Charlie Sheen plays Ricky Vaughn, who some similarities to Wilson on the mound. What that meeting was like. Got him on the cutter. 2 down. It's up to Soriano.
Considering the timing of that meeting, I'm sure the Giants were just overjoyed that their closer was hanging out with Charlie Sheen.
Soriano breaks his bat, and the bouncer's picked up by Sandoval, and Wilson gets it done. He retires all 3 here in the ninth that he faced. And that gives the Giants a doubleheader sweep. And the theme of the day, Bob, was a Giants offense. We talked a lot about their pitching, but they piled up 19 runs on 30 hits in the doubleheader.
Well, with Doug Davis and Rodrigo Lopez, the 2 starting pitchers for the Cubs today, you had a feeling the Giants might hit more than they have been lately, but well, this was just a ridiculous offensive explosion by a team that is not used to scoring this many runs.
So ZITO over Lopez, Wilson the save, and our GMC player of the game is Barry ZITO's first start in well over 2 months, and he gets his 2nd career win here at Wrigley Field.
With the rich get richer, Len, the 4th best ERA in all of the major leagues, and Barry ZITO now back off the disabled list and throwing well. The Giants pitching staff is going to be tough to deal with in the National League this year.
So that will wrap up a long day of baseball, and unfortunately the Cubs dropped a pair to the Giants. Stay tuned for Coors Light post-game live. The final score in Game 2, the Giants 6, the Cubs 3. Back in Game 1, 13-7, San Francisco. Our next Cubs telecast Sunday for us at 1. Friday also here on Comcast Sportsnet, as Hawk and Stoney will have the call. 12 o'clock for the pregame here on Comcast Sportsnet. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. And now for Bob and our entire CSN crew, this is Len Kasper, and we're going to send it over to Mark and Luke in our downtown CSN studios.